peoples of the worldwide federated internet. What's good? There's been a uptick of cancel culture, especially with social media purging so many pages. If you're not familiar with what's going on, Instagram, Facebook, I believe YouTube as well. Oh yeah, definitely YouTube, because there's a couple pages I follow that have been scrubbed from the internet, and it's not anything crazy. It's not insane, tinfoil hat conspiracy theory pages. There's some pages that ask questions, ask hard questions, questions that really beg answers that a lot of people don't want attention on for whatever reason, and some of the social media companies are behind that, behind the hiding or the lack of attention on certain issues. I mean, if you want any proof of that, just look into the Hunter Biden laptop story. This is a story that, for all intents and purposes, should be headlines, front page news. And there's some people that argue the reason the story was put out, it's because it's political season. Yeah, that's exactly why the story is put out. It is political season. We know that. But is the story true? Politicians are going to hold one in their back pocket. That's just the way elections work. They're going to hold things in their back pocket until the opportune time to release it. That's nothing new, and I don't know why we're acting like that's something new. But at any rate, cancel culture is a scourge on society, and it's a lot more dangerous than people realize. You ever notice, and this is kind of what led my thought this way, you ever notice that people who are in cults, one of the things that the cult leader normally does is they will encourage people to cut off family and close friends if they don't disagree with whatever is going on within this cult. Why do you think that is? That's a simple reason. Because when you have an ideology that runs counter to reality and there's no verification, no proof behind it, no weight for it to stand on, when you hear a counter narrative, that ideology falls apart. Cult leaders don't want that to happen. They definitely want you in the ideology they push and subscribe to, and they don't want you hearing anything from the outside. To me, cancel culture makes the whole planet in many ways a cult, because there's one line of thought that the mainstream, for whatever reason, they want you to go down this one line of thought, and they don't want you viewing, entertaining, hearing anything contrary to that thought. This happens on an individual level sometimes. I think we all have an internal cancel culture sometimes. Now, there's certain things certain rabbit trails that people can go down that they just completely lose me on, right? Just get completely out of hand, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to tune this person out. But for the most part, just disagreeing with a person, I can normally get past that. Like, even if we have some very deep internal social disagreements, I'll still listen to them. I'll still hear them out. I want to hear an alternative thought. maybe there's some area where I didn't consider something and they might be right. Maybe there's some area where I don't have the whole story, the whole picture, and I may be wrong. I want to know that. So I want to hear competing thoughts. I don't just want to hear people who I agree with 100%. And with the way society is going with cancel culture, I think this is dangerous because it's easier to take control of the populace when you don't have any alternative information. If everybody believes the same exact thing, then you'll go along with whatever's said. We see a lot of that with Ronapocalypse. There's doctors who believe one thing, and there's doctors who disagree. Doctors don't always agree 100%. But it seems that the doctors who think maybe the response to Rona is an overreaction, those doctors are completely silenced, completely cut off from the masses. That's a problem, because what happens is you create the cult mentality. If you want someone, or if you want a group of people to believe one way, you make sure they only hear one thought and never hear the counter narrative. And in a lot of ways, to support cancel culture, in many ways, you do the work of cult leaders for them. Now, I'm not, again, I always say this because I want to make it known, I'm not peddling some crazy, zany conspiracy theory, but I'm being realistic. Why is it that the media runs in one direction? And why is it that they want all thought that's contrary to that direction cut off? In my opinion, that's a problem. That's definitely creating a cult mentality. If we all think the same way, what happens when that one person comes along that has a contrary thought, and that one person happens to be right? Like, hey guys, what about this? No, we all want to stone him to death because he thinks different. That's exactly how cults operate. I don't want to be that way. And I wonder if that's the mentality. I'm not saying that there's some nefarious plan behind the scenes, although there might be, but I wonder if that's the point of what these media companies and technocrats are doing. They want that cult mentality where whatever your cult leader tells you is what you believe without question. Just a thought for the morning. Y'all know what it is. Stay frosty, people.